Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, was the sequel to Star Wars in 1977, and for many, this is considered the best Star Wars movie of them all. For myself, it's right up there with Episodes 3 and 4 for one of my all-time favorite movies to ever be made. And I look at The Empire Strikes Back to this day and still think of it as an instant classic. This is such a great film. But why do people talk about The Empire Strikes Back as the best Star Wars movie? Well, it's pretty simple. Coming off a classic that was A New Hope in 1977, The Empire Strikes Back does so much more to develop the story that was given to us from that first film, which, if you look at it, is more of a setup movie than anything else. So the film begins on the planet Hoth, a planet that is unlike anything we saw in the original Star Wars and is also one of my other favorite planets in the entire saga. And Luke goes missing in the beginning of this film after being attacked by a Wampa. While this is going on, Han is so set on leaving to pay off Jabba the Hutt, and I never really quite understood that because you're in the middle of a war and they clearly need you, so why would you leave? And it doesn't look like Jabba's coming after him at this moment in time, so I just never got why he wanted to leave so badly right now, and I think it has a lot to do with Princess Leia and that she does not show that much affection towards him just yet. So then we cut back to Luke, who is about to be eaten by the Wampa, but he gets free, and I love this scene. I think it's great because it shows our first glimpse at Luke becoming a Jedi on his way to eventually becoming a really great Jedi. And during this, like I said, Leia and Han, they are having some back and forth. We're not really sure where Leia stands, though obviously Han has a thing for her. Leia, she kind of does, but doesn't show it on the outside just yet. I do love their back and forth. It grows their relationship and makes their connection stronger for the films moving forward. Then Han eventually goes to save Luke, who almost dies from freezing to death. Once Luke is revived and well on his way, Leia kisses him to make Han jealous, and I always found that so weird and gross to look back on, considering what we found out in Return of the Jedi. It's just disgusting. So then we have the Battle of Hoth, which I think is a much improved battle from that of the Battle of Yavin in Episode 4. This battle has warfare not only in the air, but also on the ground, which gives us more than just one dimension of the battle and makes it so much better. To say the least, the Battle of Hoth is iconic. It is one of the greatest battles ever to take place in the Star Wars saga. Plus, we get our first look at the AT-ATs, which are simply awesome. Han, Leia, C-3PO, and Chewbacca are then forced to retreat after the Empire is trying to track them down. We then get a great asteroid field chase that is looked at as a phenomenal asteroid field chase. A chase that has high stakes, like as C-3PO says. The odds of them surviving this asteroid field are not in their favor, but they do because Han Solo is great at flying and they hide inside a cave that is on a giant asteroid, and the Empire are still searching for them. In the meantime, Obi-Wan instructs Luke to go to Dagobah to get trained by Jedi Master Yoda, and when these two first meet, Luke has no idea that Yoda is actually Yoda, and this scene is hilarious. Yoda is very funny and kooky, as you would expect for a Jedi who has been in exile for 17 plus years. To this day, I have no idea who I like more, CGI Yoda or Puppet Yoda. It's a tough debate and a really difficult choice to make between the two, but I love both of them. So Yoda cracks me up a ton in this movie, and you know what else cracks me up a lot is when the rest of the gang is inside the stomach of a space slug where they narrowly escape, and for some reason there are Minox inside of that space slug. I don't know why that is. Wouldn't they be eaten by now? How are they living inside of a space slug? I just don't quite put pieces together there. Also, there is a Darth Vader and Darth Sidious scene in this movie. In the original cut, it's not Ian McDiarmid in the hologram of Darth Sidious. It's some random guy who looks awful, and I have no idea what the heck they were thinking with that scene, but thankfully in the newer editions of this film, they've changed it to Ian McDiarmid's Darth Sidious, and it's so much better than that original cut. Darth Vader kills a couple of his generals who fail to capture the Millennium Falcon, and then as the Millennium Falcon and that gang think they've escaped, Boba Fett is tracking them down as they head to Cloud City on Bespin. The cool planets just keep coming in The Empire Strikes Back. Like Coruscant, Bespin is the home to another city that is really big and floats in the air, very cool looking. We go back to Dagobah where Luke is failing at his Jedi training because he cannot pull his X-Wing out of the water. Yoda then does it, and Luke is like, what? How did you do that? Well, Luke, you have a lot to learn, my friend, and it's one of the best scenes in the entire movie. Oh, and I can't forget to mention this little scene that foreshadows Luke potentially turning to the dark side under the influence of both Darth Vader and Darth Sidious. But eventually, Luke feels something deep down within the Force that lets him know that his friends Han, Leia, C-3PO, and Chewbacca are all in danger on Cloud City, so he must leave his Jedi training from Master Yoda for now and go help them. One of the saga's best characters is then introduced in Lando Calrissian. I still love this guy. He's like Han Solo 2.0, but might be even just a tad bit better. I wish we got more of Billy D. Williams in this saga, but I was happy enough with his character in The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. He is such a classic character. And I also always found the C-3PO blowing up scene to be really random, but at the same time funny. I don't know why it happens, but it just does, and it's there. Long story short, Luke arrives on Cloud City, where the Empire does come first, and Lando is forced to turn over his friends. And they think, well, you are kind of an a-hole for doing this, but I understand why Lando had to do it, because it would be either 4 people he'd sacrifice against sacrificing everyone in his city that he is in charge of, and he would look really bad if he turned his city over to the Empire, so it makes sense why Lando did what he did in this movie. Now we're at the carbonite scene where Han Solo is about to be frozen in that substance, but before that even happens, Leia says to Han, "I love you," and he says, "I know." But the other day when I was watching this, for the first time ever, it felt like that romance was rushed. And I never felt that before, but watching this on Sunday night, that was such a rushed romance if you think about it, because one moment before that, she's mad at him, still think he is this cocky man. Next thing you know, she loves him. And usually I didn't see it that way, but when I rewatched this, that's exactly how I felt. There should have been a couple of other scenes to further develop their relationship, because for the majority of this movie, Leia is ticked off at Han. He is not in her good graces, so I don't ever truly feel like they're really in love. It's definitely up there, though, for one of the saddest scenes in the original trilogy. Now we get to the Luke versus Darth Vader battle with the lightsabers, and this is a battle that is much improved over that of the Obi-Wan Darth Vader battle we got in episode 4. A lot of people look at this lightsaber duel as the very best in the entirety of Star Wars. I don't see it in the same light, because for a lot of this duel, it's just Darth toying with Luke. He probably could have killed him at any moment, but he didn't, because he's trying to turn him to the dark side. And when the right opportunity came about, he cut off his arm trying to convert him during that time, which then Luke says, "No, I'll never." And we get one of the best twists in all of cinema history, where Vader says, "No, I am your father, Luke." And Luke is miserable. You can see from the look on his face that he is in shock, and people say that he was trying to commit suicide once he learned of this terrible news. And I look at that and say, that makes sense. But then after he does that, he's about to fall again into the clouds underneath the city, but he refuses to die at that time, but he wanted to kill himself before that. Wouldn't he just want to fall into the clouds and be done with his life if he tried to do it 5 seconds before that? Luke uses the Force to talk to Leia, and the gang escapes from the Empire, where the end of this movie is one of the saddest endings in all of Star Wars. It's not a good ending for our heroes, which makes it a great movie. And yes, I do have a few nitpicks with this film after watching it again, but I have nitpicks with every Star Wars movie, and that does not mean this movie is not a classic and a fantastic film. It's just that nothing can be perfect with Star Wars, and I don't think that will ever be the case with a Star Wars movie. There will always be a couple of nitpicks that I have. Regardless, The Empire Strikes Back is a phenomenal film, one of my all-time favorite movies. It is a classic and up there for one of the best all time, which is why I'm giving Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, a 100%. One thing I want to ask you guys, Do you think The Empire Strikes Back is the best movie? Do you think it's A New Hope? Hell, Revenge of the Sith? Which one do you think is the best? I would not be surprised if you told me any Star Wars movie is your favorite, because there are about to be 11 films in this saga, a lot to choose from at this point in time. So tell me down below in the comments what your favorite is. Only one more film in this saga to review before my review for Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Pumped for that movie. I'm seeing it tomorrow night. If you're new to my channel, click the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.